I've been wanting to make a new cutting board for a very long time. I'm not sure if it's something about a woodworker's rite of passage or everybody's got to do one, but I knew I could do better than the cheap plastic one that we bought to put on the cupboard. I do like the shape and the size, so I'm going to try to stick to something similar. I will show you, however, that I did have intentions to make a different design, but you'll see in a bit how that didn't turn out so well. Today I'm making a classic cutting board. I used 3 sheets of cardstock and taped them together on their long edges to make one longer sheet to use for making the pattern. Next, I grabbed the center spool from a disposable tape dispenser to use for making the corners round. While it worked on the corners, the inside curve at the neck of the pattern wasn't quite as successful. Okay, so this isn't what I wanted, so keep watching and you'll see what I did about it. So I think I found the piece I'm going to use for the cutting board. Yes, it is red oak. And yes, I know that means it's porous, but I've checked this one and it's actually not that porous. This one's very, very smooth. So I'm going to take this one right here. Okay, if I needed some ideas for feet for a cutting board, I found these flathead plugs. So just basically cut off dowels with a slight taper, and those will be the feet for my new cutting board. And then I've decided to try this stuff for the first time. I've never tried it, so I thought I'd see it. I like the idea of having some wax in there. So yeah, that whole pattern thing, not gonna work out. I decided I wanted to replace the cutting board that we already had with something a little bit similar. Didn't like the handle on the project in the book, so here's my design change up. The new design is just a big rectangle, so I'm going to cut 4 pieces at 22 inches, and I'm going to stack all 3 of them up into whatever that comes out to, 14 to 16 inches, I think, front to back if you're standing in front of the cutting board. So here you're gonna see me make my first mistake. Well, that's debatable, but I'm making a mistake here. I am applying super glue to the feet that I found, and then I'm going to stick it to the board. And there it goes. That is the top of my cutting board. And at this point I already know that, but I just continue to let it go and go and go, and I put the fourth one on. So you'll see how I fix this later on. Okay, so you probably saw in the last clip that I messed up the feet on this cutting board. How many of you noticed? Well, these are on the top because this is a big hole and a big blemish on the board that was meant for the underside. This whole top plank is actually, in fact, cracked from the end. You can see here, I actually had to fill that with glue all the way back to here and clamp it down. And I had intended to fill some of that with super glue, but I think it'll be fine with the cutting board wax on it. So that's what I'm going to do. But I got to pop these feet off, and I got to sand the board down and get it looking nice again. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, now it's time to apply the Howard's Butcher Block conditioner to the newly minted cutting board. What you didn't see me do before was all the actual real work of sanding and smoothing the edges, which I took care of the night before. Made sure that the end grain and all the corners were broken over, so it has a very gentle, soft feel to the hands. So hopefully this thing will turn out and it'll actually be useful.